Welcome back to Resident Evil. We return to Raccoon City, where this time we are going to be jumping deep into the story, and plot of course, of the third installment of the series. Coming out a year after the great success of RE2, we let Leon and Claire have a break whilst we take control as Jill Valentine and Carlos Oliveira, as we tackle the horror and monsters that this game has to offer. So RE3 has a total of 33 trophies. It requires 5 different playthroughs, consisting of multiple difficulty trophies, your typical bobblehead collectible trophies, and obviously some combat related trophies, because with zombies means more weapons of mass destruction. So for the first run, I'll be playing through the story for the first time, picking up any collectibles and trophies I get along the way whilst on standard difficulty. Then I'll be starting up a second run on assisted difficulty, where I'll be picking up any of the last collectibles and miscellaneous trophies that I missed in the first playthrough. Then after all those are done, I'll be leaving all of the difficulty trophies till last.
Alright. I'm in.
Lastly, I just want to say a massive thank you for the insane support on the RE2 vids. Honestly, I'm so proud on how that video came out, and it is the main reason why I'm jumping straight into RE3 so quickly. So if this does happen to be your first platinum of mine that you're watching here on the channel, then make sure that you watch the Resident Evil 2 vid. So with that, I'll stop my rambling. Let's jump right into Resident Evil 3's platinum playthrough. The game starts off with some early footage of the outbreak just beginning, with some special forces trying to contain the chaos, which as you can see is clearly not working. Then cutting over to this weird ass scientist saying that Umbrella is the way to a brighter and better future. Yeah, with my experience from the second game, I don't think I'll be signing with them anytime soon. Then we see a very high-tech and important looking crate being transported via helicopter, with the code name being Nemesis. That sounds like trouble to me. We pan over to Jill Valentine, one of the 2 main protagonists of the game. We see her having some problems as she looks at herself in the mirror, with her nose starting to bleed and her whole body just starts to fall apart as if she has been infected with the virus. So any smart person would fix that, right? Oh, don't worry, it was just a nightmare, nothing to worry about. Well, that was a very pleasant start to the game. After waking up, we get a call from someone called Brad, who is urgently warning us to get the hell out of there. I reckon he's probably just overreacting. Oh no, not this guy again. Wait, that's not Tyrant. Oh man, is this his older brother or something? Well, whoever this dude is, he clearly wants us dead, so maybe we should listen to Brad. Now, this guy is all sorts of trouble since he does not want us to get away. He ends up busting through walls and yeeting us back into this burning building. Cheers for that, by the way. Whilst chasing us down these fiery corridors, leaving little of this building left. We do narrowly manage to get the upper hand though and escape from that monstrosity. Also, with that, we get our very first trophy of the game, being First Escape. Wait, I did read that right? Great, well if that's the first escape, then I'm going to guess that there's more to come. Can't wait for that. We run into Brad, who tells us that whatever that thing is, it has a hard-on for S.T.A.R.S members, that being the 2 of them. Now, this is actually the first time that we get to see the world breaking down in its earlier stages. Buildings breaking and on fire, civilians running around in panic, and oh look, zombies. I was wondering where you guys had gotten to. Maybe they heard about a new and upcoming bar with a great name, may I add. We try barricading the doors, but unfortunately one of us became a zombie chew toy as Brad gets bit. He yells at us to save ourselves, and we do just that. We make our way through the rubble and destruction the Raccoon City is succumbing to. Now, this is quite a cool thing to see, since in RE2, we didn't really spend that much time outside, since most of it was inside the police station and also the laboratory. So yeah, it's kind of nice to see all of this destruction happen hands-on. We end up reaching a rooftop where a helicopter is there to take us to safety. Now, just like any zombie game or movie, it gets blown up and we are left to fend for ourselves because Tyrant's brother is back and he is pissed. We manage to hotwire a car and throw us and him off the ledge of the roof, crashing down on top of him. Now, we appear to come out the worst of that, since we try and crawl away, but we get to see what he truly looks like, and damn, that is one scary ass looking motherfucker. Nice pearly whites though, I'll give him that. But out of nowhere, a straight RPG shot flies at him, but he managed to catch it with ease. Okay mate, now you're just showing off. Fortunately though, the second shot puts him down. Kinda. In which we then get carried away to safety, and with that, unlocking the Somebody to Lean On trophy. We end up in the entrance of a subway since Carlos, the guy who just saved us, and the one with an incredible head of hair. Damn, just look at those locks. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. He says that his unit has a shelter in the subway cars that they are bringing survivors in to protect them. But before we make our way in, me being the top tier explorer I am, I turn back heading out and find my first collectible of the game. Just like in RE2, there are little bobblehead figures called Mr. Charlie, and by destroying the first one, I got the Hello Charlie trophy. Stepping into the subway cart, we get introduced to Mikhail Victor, the leader of Carlos's unit, and he seems to know us. That being because we, work for S.T.A.R.S. In order for these subway cars to get moving, we need to head above ground to get them them working in order to evacuate the survivors on board. As we head back towards the surface, we are shown the normal item pickups you'll find throughout the game, like herbs and gunpowder, and then for combining 2 sets of gunpowder together, I got the basic chemistry trophy, just like in the previous game. Now, similar to RE2's police station, this is the first open world section of the game where there are multiple ways to go. Locked doors that we can return to later, and of course, lots of zombies, like always. But along this way, I managed to open my first safe of the game with a nice little gun attachment inside, and by combining that with my pistol, I also got the gunsmith trophy. So within this massive area, there are some important items required for both story and trophy progression that you must get. So to start, you're going to want to find the fire hose located in the entrance in the subway office, and using that to get rid of the fire blocking you, you'll gain access to the tool shop, which as you can see in front of you, there is a nice set of bolt cutters that will definitely come in handy at some point. Then there are 3 different colored jewels in fancy boxes that you need for a trophy. The red jewel located in the kitchen inside the donut shop. The blue jewel is inside the supermarket where the door is chained up, so that's what the bolt cutters are for. Then for the green jewel, you'll find inside the Charlie toy store in the 3rd and final fancy box. Now, getting back to the story, we find this UBCS agent not in a great way, but before we can see what's wrong, this guy comes out of nowhere and puts a bullet right between his eyes.
What the fuck?
Then basically tells us that we are soft and to get lost.
I don't need a bleeding heart like you getting in the way.
Wow, what a douche. Progressing onwards, we managed to pick up 2 more trophies along the way, so let's get to them. After getting mauled by this dog, I shot it, and apparently a zombie in the background because I managed to get the 2-for-1 deal for killing 2 enemies with 1 bullet. That's clear luck right there. Then I managed to find my first hit pouch, giving me the Get Organized trophy. Ah, more inventory space. I love it. We finally arrived at the subway power station, and I did not like this part, and for one reason only. Yeah, if this didn't max out my fear of big bugs, then I don't know what would. Although I'm so glad that I'm not Jill in this situation. Look how much fun she's having. So, as you assume, I made sure I was in and out of this area as quickly as I could. So after switching all 4 switches and escaping these abominations, we boot the power back up, destroying the massive nest that was stopping the power, and just like that, we have some working subway trains. Don't you just love it when a plan comes together and uninterrupted? So with that, we start to make our way back in a nice, calm manner. Oh shit, not this guy again. In panic, I yeeted a grenade towards him and we were rewarded with another tasty silver trophy. Now that's what I'm talking about, putting Nemesis down. But I ain't waiting around, I'm getting the hell out of there. We make our way to the subway office and change the route of the train, since Fox Park is the destination that we want to go to. But, of course, our route back is never simple, since Nemesis is now infecting zombies and making them even more powerful. Now, you thought Tyrant was bad. Nemesis is twice as difficult to navigate. Your best bet is to use any explosives that you have on you. Bullets will do nothing, as clearly shown here. Plus, you ain't outrunning this dude either. But at this point, we do manage to escape him for the time being. Thank God. Now that we are safe, remember those jewels that you got earlier? Interacting with this compass-like object, by using all of the 3 jewels, you'll get 3 useful items, but more importantly, you'll get the Power Stones trophy. We meet back up with Carlos, and of course we bump into this douche again.
She's unreliable. Can't pull the trigger when it counts.
Yeah, he don't like us. Oh, speaking of other douches, Nemesis is back, and he wants us.
Hey, wait, Joe! No!
We managed to escape him again, but honestly, I'd rather be up there with him because guess what? It's a sewer level. Now, I've only just got over RE2's sewer part. Can I just uninstall the game now and just give up? No? Fine, let's get this over with, shall we? So, as normal, these parts are boring and tedious and pretty much the same from the previous one. There is this fish-looking enemy though. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but they do pack a punch, so it's best to stay away from them like I did. Luckily for me, this sewer section is very short, so we arrive to the surface but get ambushed by Nemesis again. This time though, he has a new toy, and I know Jill is already hot as it is, but I don't think she wants to get any hotter. We make our way through the burning building all the way to the very top where we have our first boss fight of the game. Now, there is nothing too hard with this fight. Simply always run away from Nemesis whilst hitting his fuel canister until you do enough damage and put him down for good. We can't stick around though, because this building ain't going to be standing for much longer. We take the expressway out as this building explodes. Now, I don't know how she's come away from that fall with no broken bones, but we are alive and Nemesis isn't, and that's all that matters. Plus, we get the Nemesis down trophy. We radio Carlos to tell him that we are okay and make our way back to the subway. We then visit gun shop Kendo again, maybe to browse the shelves for any more goodies, I hope. After some late night shopping, we bump into the man himself. Unlike Leon and Claire, Jill actually happens to know Kendo. We inform him about the subway cart that's taking survivors to a safer place, and at first he seems on board, but very quickly changes his mind since we all know what has happened in the other room. Now, just to clear some things up, parts of this game happens before, during, and after the events of Resident Evil 2. So when we heard him shoot his daughter in the second game, at this point she is in the early stages of being infected. So without asking questions, we leave him to it and make our way back. So remember that previous trophy we got with that question mark? Where is he getting all of this weaponry from, and why can't I have some of that firepower? Okay, dude, I didn't mean that literally. He has some good aim though, but I'll give him that. With a well-placed claymore from Carlos, we stun him long enough to escape him again and finally get back to the subway. With Jill taking the train out of there, she splits up from Carlos since he has a mission that he must fulfill.
I'm not gonna die on you, leave you in a cold, cruel, Carlosless world.
Okay.
And us being as lucky as we are, we get to share the train with this douche. Yay. But also Mikhail too. So at least we like one of these guys, but it doesn't look like he's in great shape. Oh no, it's another Marvin situation. Suddenly, one of the carts explode, which can only mean one thing.
How is this fucker not dead yet?
Just know they're gone.
So as we make a run for it, we get locked up by Nikolai since he knows it's only after Jill. So he leaves us to die. Now what better way to take Nemesis out? Mikhail knows better, and he has a pretty good line to end it.
Get off my train. Shit's burned up.
And with that explosion knocking Jill out, it fades to black as we unlock the Escape from the City trophy. With Jill out of action, we switch over to Carlos for the first time since, unlike in Resident Evil 2, there is only one playthrough that includes both protagonists instead of two separate playthroughs. Plus, you may recognise where we are again. Yeah, that's right, we're back at the police station. Now, you thought you were done with this place in the second game. So at this point in the story, it takes place before Leon and Claire arrive at the station. So there are a couple of events that happen that explain some outcomes for when Leon and Claire get to them. Oh look! Hey Marvin, funny seeing you here. Oh, and it's Brad too. Now I know we guess what happened to him. Unable to end his life, Marvin staggers for a second, allowing Brad to bite him, which then explains how he got bit in the first place, which was a cool touch that they added in. Unfortunately, I guess we gotta put Brad down. And although he does take a ton of bullets to kill, make sure you do kill him because then you'll get the An Unfortunate End trophy. So the reason that we are back here is that we are rescuing a guy called Nathaniel Bard. Well, it's less of a rescue and more of a detaining since this guy holds all the dark secrets that Umbrella is hiding. Apparently he's held up in the S.T.A.R.S office, so let's make our way there and find him. Now this police station is pretty much the same as what you saw in my Resident Evil 2 vid, with some small differences but nothing too story changing. Fighting our way through twice the amount of zombies that Leon encountered, we make our way to the office and find out that he's not there. But we do receive a Skype call from him though. He says that he is held up in a nearby hospital and that Umbrella is killing off all of their researchers. That being a massive problem since he is the only one that knows how to make a vaccine to stop the virus, so let's hope we can get there quickly. We then receive a radio call from Jill. Oh, nice to know that she survived that explosion, in which he finds out about the train being derailed, killing everyone on board, so without any hesitation, Carlos sets himself on a different rescue mission to find Jill. And with that, Carlos' segment ends, giving us the Carlos Express trophy. Several minutes later, we pan back to Jill, battered and bruised as she makes her way out of the subway, away from the burning train and up to the surface once more. It all looks very peaceful up here. Maybe too peaceful. Yeah, I spoke too soon. Looks like Nemesis ain't doing so good. So, you thought Mikhail was helping when he sacrificed himself and blew up Nemesis. Yeah, no, this only made him stronger. Similar to Tyrant in RE2, he also has a phase 2 look, and this one is even more scary and deadly looking than Tyrant. But very cool looking, may I add. We get chased to the Clock Tower Plaza where it's time for a second fight, so hopefully we can make it 2 for 2 against him. But I feel like this is going to be harder. Just a hunch. So like the first encounter, it involves a lot of shooting when he is far away from you. Then as he gets closer, some well-timed dodges will save you in this fight. Which, by the way, is a cool thing they added in this game. After doing a set amount of damage to him, he starts doing some laps, running on the sides of the buildings where at first I didn't realise this, but using the mine ammo in your grenade launcher, you can time it right and knock him off, which allows you to do more damage to him. After a few more placed shotgun shots, we managed to put him down and that ends the second fight. Well, I don't know how much of a win it actually is. Now, you think that would have been enough to kill him, right? Yep, looks like Jill is now infected. And with no help from Nikolai as he watches us squirm in pain and leaves us to die.
Interesting. You've done me a big favor.
Do I need to say it again? What a douche. One good thing comes from this though, that being the I don't feel so good trophy. Luckily though, Carlos finds Jill, but she is in a bad state. Now, since we've got to find the one person that can make a vaccine, we make our way to the hospital to save her life, hopefully. We get to the hospital and lay Jill down so that we can find Bard and get this vaccine, and quickly. So, throughout the hospital, you'll find your typical undead patients, but they ain't the problem here. This thing is. Yeah, this creature is all types of nasty and very fast at dodging my bullets, so a well-placed grenade puts it down. I guess not that difficult, but if I didn't have that grenade, I would have been screwed.
Jesus Christ.
We eventually find the tape player and also the cassette tape that has Bard's voice on it. Playing it for the speaker, gaining access to his lab. We do end up finding him, just chilling out. Oh, wait, no, he's dead. Turns out he is allergic to bullets through his skull, so I guess that looks like he won't be any help. Or will he, since he actually managed to leave a recording of his last words before he died. He talks about how Umbrella was engineering the T-virus and that it was Bard's job to create a vaccine for it, but someone higher up wants it destroyed since Umbrella are the reason for the start of this outbreak, so they want to cover it up. But Bard isn't going to give up so easily. He ends the recording since an unexpected visitor shows up, possibly the one who killed him. My money's on Nikolai, but I guess we'll find out later.
I know they don't want me to.
We do some rummaging around in the back and find the very last vaccine left. Wow, now that's a relief. I guess we can go save Jill now. We get back to her and give her the vaccine, which takes a while to heal her, so we decide to listen to some late night TV. Oh, my favourite channel's on. The one that tells us about the contagion spreading so badly that they're going to drop a missile, destroying the entire of Raccoon City tomorrow. Man, I love it when my favourite episode's on. With no time to take that information in, the zombies are on their way, so we gotta barricade this room up and protect Jill, while she is still recovering. Now, this next part makes me feel like I've just booted up a game of COD Zombies. After unloading hundreds of bullets, we make quick work of them, but unfortunately bullets aren't quite enough, so we gotta use some other types of explosives. Using this C4, we blow the pillar to pieces, blocking the entrance and putting a stop to the zombies for now, whilst also getting the I Need a Hero trophy. Now that Jill is alive and healthy, we learn that Carlos has ventured into an underground lab to try and obtain some of the vaccines, so that we can use them as a reason to prevent the city from being nuked. But before that, there is actually something else that we need to pick up first. Now that we are playing as Jill, there are some parts of the hospital that we couldn't access as Carlos in the first time we played it. So with Jill managing to squeeze through some smaller areas, we managed to pick up a very last weapon of the game. We open this case up to find this sick looking deagle inside, which gives us the Kendo's Armory trophy. We venture our way into a more secure looking part of the hospital after unlocking a few doors with Jill's lockpick. We take an elevator deeper down into the facility and notice a familiar looking douche just watching down on us. Denying us access, we now must navigate our way through this massive storage area looking for the 3 fuses that will power up the lift, thus allowing us to progress. Now this room chucks literally everything at us, including these pale head enemies. Hey, I remember you from the previous game, and oh how I hated you. One headshot with a deagle will kill these guys, so save those bullets for them. After finding all of the 3 fuses, we try to ambush Nikolai to notice that he is dipped. Damn it, I was so looking forward to some sweet revenge. I guess we have to settle for Tyrell's company as he is caught up to us. He mentions that he was actually able to get through to the guys dropping the nuke, and that they will call off the strike if we can deliver the vaccine to them, and we haven't really got much time, so we need to get a move on. Now, as you can see, Tyrell isn't looking too great, and unfortunately this bad luck does catch up to him, with Nemesis ambushing us and taking Tyrell as his next victim. Sad to see him get killed like that since he's been by their side since the very start, but at the end of the day, if it had to be one of us, I'm glad it's not Jill. Now, just imagine this massive creature hunting you down. Now, that's some scary shit. But luckily, this facility has a very secure looking doors, and we managed to trap Nemesis from catching us and also giving us the Pursuer trophy. So we now are in the final area of the game, and if you've been quite thorough in your collectibles and other item pickups, you'll start checking off some of these trophies. Unfortunately for me, that wasn't the case, so anything that I've missed will be picked up in my second playthrough. So similar to the lab in the second game, the next goal is to create the vaccine, since all of the ingredients are down here but they need some combining. Upon grabbing the first of 2 ingredients, we enter a massive test tube looking room, which as you can see, this is where they've been creating all the monsters that have terrorized us since the beginning. Oh look, as if one tyrant wasn't enough, there are many more that are being brewed, ready for mayhem. Maybe that nuke does sound like a good idea right now. after backtracking from this room, they end up crashing the pie, so luckily my grenade launcher did all the talking for me. Narrowly escaping, we then managed to find the second sample, and then brought them both back to the experiment room so that they can be combined into a new vaccine. Unfortunately, we can't even take 1 second to relax, since Nemesis grabs us by the throat, and after a few near stabs, which may I say is very close to her neck, I wouldn't do that if I was her, he ends up yeeting us far away. Then, proceeding to escape, he then gets a hold of us again for the second time, but this time we choose bullets as we explode a nearby tank, but that doesn't really seem to do much. Damn, this thing will just not give up. We do manage to give him the slip though, and we make our way to a walkway looking over into a disposal chamber. Now, if that area down there doesn't scream boss fight, then I don't know what does, as Nemesis collapses the walkway under us and leaves us hanging on for dear life. Then, just to top things off, the douche is back. And unfortunately, he catches us in quite a bad situation. Turns out he wants us to fight Nemesis so that he can record it and sell it to the highest bidder. Of course, it's always money that is a bad guy's motivation. Well, either that or power, but I guess with one comes the other. So he sends us to our death, but that's what he thinks. Jill hasn't survived this long due to luck, I'll say. Right, it's time now. Let's end this guy. So this fight is pretty much the same to the last fight with him. You do enough damage to him to make him start wall running, but in this time, Carlos is actually here to be our eyes, since he calls out the numbered tank that Nemesis is hiding behind, allowing us to then shoot both of the red switches to electrocute him and allow us to pump some extra damage into him. Now, annoyingly, I didn't first time this fight. Yeah, he just hits me again whilst I'm getting up, and now that's just not fair. Anyway, after our first mistake, we bring it back with more bullets and grenades, and with a sick-ass crane swing by Carlos, he smashes Nemesis's jaw and we make our dramatic escape. Watching the pit below us fill with acid, and in that burning his flesh and melting him into pieces. And with that epic fight done, we get the Nemesis down ! Trophy. Okay, why am I being trolled by these trophies? Is he dead or not? We bump back into Nikolai and are at a standoff, demanding that he hands over the vaccine, but hey, guess what interrupts us? What in the fuck is that? See, I told you that trophy was still trolling me. Great, so with that, Nikolai makes his escape, and we gotta finish this dude off once and for all.
Look, just so you know, this is the last fucking time.
But turns out normal guns are just not gonna cut it. Ooh, what do we have here? Damn, okay, he clearly did not like that. You know what? Let's do it again. But in order for us to power up this weapon of mass destruction, we need to stun Nemesis by shooting these bubbles attached to him. Then pushing the correct power sources, we stun him with a second strike. And then, for extra punishment, Jill ain't gonna mess around.
Come on! Next time, take the fucking hit!
We explode that bitch to a bloody mess, and with that, unlocking the Nemesis down ! Trophy. See, notice how there wasn't a question mark this time? See, I would say that we can just breathe for a bit now, but don't forget about that nuke that's about to go off soon. So, with Nemesis finally defeated, we need to now catch up to that douche. Taking an elevator up to the roof, we find Carlos knocked unconscious, but then get knocked to the floor ourselves whilst checking up on him. Sticking to his promise that he gave earlier, he does actually give us back the vaccine, but shoots it before we get to grab it. Great, now after all that, we have absolutely nothing to gain. After a very evil last moment speech, he goes to shoot us, but luckily Carlos tackles him out of nowhere, engaging into a fight to the death. Carlos manages to get the upper hand, but needs our trusty aim to finish off the job. Hey, I never said my aim was good at any point. We question Nikolai of who he works for, only wanting to give up that information if we bring him with us.
If I die, you'll never find out the truth.
Jill just doesn't care enough to keep him alive. We leave him to suffer a long-winded death. As we fly away, we witness the devastation of Raccoon City, along with all the civilians and zombies. She says a final goodbye to RC, and the game ends cutting over to an apartment with her keeping hold of the remains of the vaccine. Hey, maybe that might still be proof enough to the right people to shut down Umbrella. But I guess we'll have to find out another time. And with that, we unlock the Survivor Trophy for completing the game on standard difficulty. So then that is the main story of Resident Evil 3 done. And even better is we managed to tick off 20 trophies. So only have 12 to go, plus the Platinum. But Annoyingly, they ain't as easy as I would have wanted them to be. Now it's time to begin the rest of the clear up. So I boosted up another playthrough on assisted difficulty since there were actually 2 non-difficulty based trophies that I was aiming for during this next run. But because I'll be obtaining them at the end of that second run, let's focus on some trophies that I missed during my first playthrough. So annoyingly, out of all of the safes, lockers, strong boxes and pickable locks, I was missing only just 1. So at first I was a little bit worried that I wasn't going to find it, but luckily for me it was a lot more obvious than I thought. So back in the police station during Carlos's section, I actually missed the lock on the 3rd floor. Now that's because I just couldn't remember the code from the second game. So inputting the code DCM, it opened and it gave me the RE Master of Unlocking trophy. My next collectible trophy was for finding all the files in the game. Again, another situation where I was missing 2 out of the 56 in total. Now, unlike the RE2 trophy equivalent, where, by the way, it took me 2 playthroughs to find them, my last 2 were actually in the police station too. Wow, I just didn't bother looking around much in the station, did I? So my first one was underneath the entrance to the police station, which if you're missing a few too, this is surely going to be one of them. Then the last one that I was missing was in the safety deposit room up on this whiteboard. Funny thing is, it was a picture of the code combination on that locker I just opened. Ah, that's why I couldn't remember the code for it. So yeah, with that, I got the bookworm trophy. Then I managed to shoot all of the Charlie statues, which I was only missing 2 out of the 20 in total. So I feel like I did pretty well within my first run. So I ended up shooting the last one, which was beside this forklift just outside the hospital, where then I got the Goodbye Charlie trophy. For this next trophy, you have to find the 3 fuses and complete this section in 5 minutes or less. Now, honestly, not a hard one at all, since we were on the easiest difficulty, but all you need to know is the fastest route to each fuse. So after grabbing all 3 fuses in record-breaking time, I placed them all in the fuse box, and with that unlocking the electric slide trophy. Now, with those all done, returning back to those 2 difficulty trophies I mentioned earlier. So they are more stipulations that require you to play a certain way, but luckily whilst getting those previous trophies, all I had to do was finish off the rest of the playthrough. Nice and easy. So we obliterated Nemesis for the last time, and we let Raccoon City get nuked once more, completing yet another playthrough. And with that, we unlocked the Minimalist trophy for not using the storage box. And then after that, we also unlocked the I Might Need This Later trophy for using 1 or less heals in the game. 2 fairly easy ones, so glad we are done with them. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get very serious. So at this point in the game, I only have 6 trophies left, which if you remember the difficulty-based ones from RE2, you know what's coming next. So you're probably thinking, how many playthroughs did this actually take me? Well, I did the unbelievable and managed to obtain all 6 of them in just 1 playthrough. Now, you're probably asking, Jack, how did you do that? Well, to start off with, I booted up a run on Inferno mode and definitely made sure my infinite rocket launcher was close to heart, since, not surprisingly, you can one-shot pretty much everything apart from Nemesis, but I'll get to him in a second. Secondly, make sure you pay close attention to the amount of saves that you do, since you can actually only get an S rank rating if you use 5 saves or less. Now, having enough saves wasn't an issue for me, I just made sure I had 1 save for the final boss fight. Trust me, he is your main problem when it comes to staying alive, since the last encounter against Nemesis is the most painful part. With the Inferno mode, his attacks are twice as quick, and once he hits you, that is pretty much game over. As you can see, me getting annihilated over and over and over again. So this last boss fight probably took me about 30 minutes to finally overcome him, which did obviously worry me since my time was quickly running out. But nonetheless, we blasted him to bloody bits and left Raccoon City to be destroyed for one last time, giving us that sweet, sweet S rank that we were hoping for, thus giving us the Dominator trophy and then weirdly the Platinum, which is so long RC. Yeah, I was really hoping for all 6 trophies to pop one after the other and then the Platinum. That would have been so satisfying. Oh well, as you can see, it did give me the Veteran and Conqueror alongside Dominator trophies, and then also Sprinter for completing the game in under 2 hours, and then finally Sensational Work and also Jill Valentine for getting that S rank on top of doing it on Inferno. And there we go. I can now add Resident Evil 3 to my Platinum collection alongside RE2. Now, I feel like this game doesn't really get the justice that it deserves. I unfortunately can't compare it to the original, but I will say that I did enjoy this game. Now, I think a lot of people did hate on it, the fact that it was a lot shorter than RE2, and also from what I've heard from other people, apparently there was a lot of cut content from the original game, which obviously a lot of hardcore RE fans are going to hate on, but it still held the same qualities that I liked from the second game. The Nemesis fights were pretty fun, although he did scare the hell out of me in the early stages, being twice as deadly as Tyrant was, so that was a plus for me. The one small thing that I will say is I do kind of wish that the story was a bit longer, since I like both Jill and Carlos as individual characters, but also as partners too. And as some of you guys are probably hoping for, I can't wait to get around to RE4 when that happens. Obviously, being a much longer and harder platinum, please let me know if you'd like to see that, or if you would prefer to see some other games for the time being, I'd still be down for that too. You know, been playing a lot of Resident Evil lately, so maybe a break from them is needed, but as I said, please let me know your thoughts. Lastly, I know I kind of thanked you all for the support on RE2 at the start of the video, but because of that amazing support, I am now an official YouTube partner, which that is a massive accomplishment that I thought I'd never hit, but hey, here we are. Now, as always, if you did enjoy this, make sure you like the video, leave a comment on your thoughts and opinions of the game, and if you're obviously new to the channel, then a sub would be massively appreciated. As I said, thank you all so much for the support on just the channel in general. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next Platinum playthrough.